You're listening to the Elvis Ultimate Fan Channel podcast, the channel that is devoted 100% to the life and career of the biggest selling recording artist of all time, with your host, Steve Francis.
Yes, welcome to another episode from Elvis the Ultimate Fan Channel. My guest today is Elvis fan Kevin Higgins, and he's on a mission to get all the unreleased footage shot for Elvis On Tour released for the 50th anniversary in 2022. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Steve. How are you doing?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your Sunday to talk to the show. It's very nice of you.
Yeah, no problem at all. I'm always there to talk Elvis, anytime, anytime.
Yeah, I think I said to you when I was setting this up that I could talk Elvis 24/7.
Yeah. I think we all can, and I think it's testament to the man that we are still talking about him.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah.
40
odd years after. Yeah,
40 odd years later. I'm losing track now. It's 43 this year, isn't it?
Yeah. And tell me, how did you first become an Elvis fan?
I was, there was four of us in the family. I was sort of a late arrival, or a mistake, which. And my sister was basically 20 years older than me. So she was a teenager in the 50s. My brothers were both, there was about 2 years in between me other two brothers as well. And they were all basically brought up on 50s and early 60s music. So I wasn't born until 61. So, but of course, from being a baby, I'd constantly hear Elvis, Eddie Cochran, everybody. It's like, they were on the gauntlet of everybody in our house. It was, we got into the 60s stuff, and of course it was the Beatles, and my first memories of having and thumbing through. Apparently, I did smash an awful amount of 78 records. So how many Elvis ones I smashed, I don't know.
It might not be best thinking about it anymore.
No, it is not. But the earliest memories of music would be definitely of her hearing Elvis. My sister had like Golden Records Volume 1 and the Blue Eye soundtrack and Girls soundtrack and everything. So, and of course everything else as well. And it was like potpourri of music in our house. It was earliest memories of liking music myself was also like people like the Monkees and Herman's Hermits
And are your family Elvis fans as well?
Well, my wife's family's mum is a big Elvis fan, and that's how we met, basically.
Oh, right. Tell me about that.
I was going to the Wolverhampton fan club discos at a time. It was back in 1980, about a year after I came back from Graceland. And I met the family there, and one was a big Elvis fan, and a daughter was as well. And that's where we met, basically, back in 1980 at an Elvis disco. And we got together, and we eventually got engaged in Graceland in 1985.
Oh, brilliant!
And it's pretty much history. It's we had our firstborn in 1993, and he happened to arrive on January the 8th. And he wasn't due to the 15th. Did
you work the name Elvis or Aaron anywhere into the name?
His name is James Aaron.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that's another thing you have to be thankful for Elvis for.
It is, yeah. Both my sons obviously know that without Elvis, they wouldn't be here. Basically.
Yeah. Well, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Without the Elvis disco and us meeting, obviously they wouldn't be here. And we had our first granddaughter last year as well, and he's thankful that she wouldn't be here either. So. And then by 68, 69, my earliest memory of actually seeing him was the BBC showing of the 68 NBC special on 31st of July 1969. So
What a great way to be the first time to see him.
Yeah, I mean, it took us out of the decade into the 70s by seeing that. I do remember we had a family get-together at New Year's Eve around the house, and we had the main set in the front room, and we had a portable black and white TV in the dining room, and my father at the time just refused to have him on the TV that night. So my sister, my brothers and me, we sat in the dining room and watched the 68 special. So that is very vivid in my mind. I mean, I was, 8 years old?
Yeah, what a memory.
That really started everything. And after that, I was like getting myself down to the local record store, which was in walking distance. And I think the first single actually bought with my own money, pocket money, was early in 1917. It was Kentucky Rain.
Oh yeah, great one. See, that's my abiding memories as well, is actually waiting outside the record shops for them to open so she could get in and get the latest Elvis release.
Yes. Yeah.
The youth of today don't know that. They just go onto their laptop and download it and that's it.
Yeah, it was definitely more physical and tactile in them days, and just even the albums, just waiting to see what the album cover looked like.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a nice experience, I think, then, from what they had from basically CDs onwards.
Yeah, CDs aren't as nice though, are they? They just haven't got the character that the LPs have and singles.
No, I have basically gone back to vinyl again.
A lot of people are.
Yeah, I basically stopped collecting the Elvis CDs at one point, and just if I do a vinyl edition, I'll get that. Otherwise, I'll just download it. But otherwise, I'll just stick to vinyl now.
And you've obviously been to Graceland?
Yes, 1979 with the official UK fan club, and we can go back to about mid-70s now. I was by that time buying Elvis Monthly every day. I was a member of the fan club, so I could see they were taking members over to the States every year to see Elvis. And I kept on saying to my parents, can I go one of the years? Can I go when you're a bit older? Okay, you can go when you're 18. I'll take you when you're 18. Or you can go over with the fan club when you're 18. Not until. So 77 come along, and I could see that the fan club were doing the June tour to see him. And I pleaded the end of 76 for them to send me to see the June 77 tour. But Dad wasn't having none of it at all. He says, you're not going on your own all over there at 16 years of age. So that was the end of that one. So, and of course,
I don't believe it.
History caught up with us. So, so I was pretty devastated in August 77, to say the least, because I basically missed him by 2 years.
Yeah, so it would have been Todd that was Todd Slaughter, head of the UK fan club, that were taking the groups over.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was Todd and all the gang, and Bob Bacon, who recently passed away.
That's right. Yeah. And Todd actually got to meet Elvis, didn't he, in Indianapolis on the last evening of the tour?
On that tour, yeah. It was it was all organised by the Colonel for Todd, and I remember Todd saying though that Elvis he got up close to Elvis, and he says he didn't look well. That's all.
Well, I've actually asked Todd to come on, and he's agreed. So Todd will be on in the next few weeks. So I'm looking forward to that.
That'll be interesting. Todd's got so I've talked to Todd a lot, to be honest, at the moment, and he's got so many interesting stories you would not believe.
Great. I better set aside a few hours for that.
Yes, I think it might be a multi-part one with Todd.
Yeah. So you have been to Graceland. When did you finally make it? You say 1979.
Yeah, he did hold true to my father. God bless him. On the Memorial Tour in 1979. Of course, Graceland was totally different then. It was.
But it wasn't open to the public till 82, was it?
It wasn't open to the public.
The house.
Basically, it was just stand at the gates, and then in the mornings you can file up to the meditation garden, and I think we did the candlelight one. I think we did the candlelight as well. Yes.
Oh right.
One of the very early candlelights.
Yeah, because it's very, very, very big now. The candlelight, isn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Huge.
But,
and you went to Sun? Did you go to Sun Studio and
we did the full tour.
Tupelo?
Tupelo, Sun Studios. We had the motorcycle escort into Tupelo, and they also dedicated the chapel at Tupelo.
Oh yes.
That was the year they dedicated the chapel. So we had all of Elvis's friends there and everything as well. So.
Janelle McComb, wasn't it, I think? Janelle McComb
was, and I got to meet Cassie Westmoreland and Charlie Hodge, and quite a few, and Billy Smith was there, and so we all got to meet them and chat to them, and Cassie Westmoreland sang My Heavenly Father at the opening of the chapel.
Oh, lovely.
But that was a really good tour, to be honest.
Must have been very emotional when she started singing that.
Oh, very, very emotional. She's just a fantastic voice, especially live.
Yeah. A little bit of news, isn't there, at the moment, that That's the Way It is going to be in cinemas or movie houses for our friends over the water on the 22nd of April for one night only.
Yes, that is good news.
Well, it's good news because I haven't seen it for 19 years. The last time I saw it on the big screen was 2001.
Yeah, I saw the 2001 remastered edition at the cinema, and that was a good experience. I think we went for a few days, to be honest.
Now, as far as we know, it's just the 2001 remaster again showing on the 22nd of April. Now, of course, the big bugbear with a lot of fans was the exclusion of I Just Can't Help Believing and Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Yes, that is a shame, because they only showed them when they originally showed it on TCM. They showed it just after they showed some remastered editions of them 4 songs.
Right.
At the end, straight after the showing, and of course, obviously, you recorded them if also had video recorders and everything.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if they included them in this new screening now on the 22nd?
Yes, it wouldn't have cost them anything really, just to re-edit back those 4 songs, to be honest.
I'm wondering what the reason is. Is it something to do with copyright? Maybe it's always something like that, isn't it?
There's always some sort of reason that they're not including songs like there was with Elvis on Tour, that Johnny Be Good. Actually, it was Teddy Bear, Don't Be Cruel, I think.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, Don't Be Cruel.
Yeah.
It was the medley.
So, wasn't as good. Nowhere near as.
Obviously, it had been edited originally for Johnny Be Good, so it just didn't go. It didn't fit.
Yeah. It just looked like 2 separate entities, like you were watching something and then just playing a record in the background.
Yeah, I think a lot of the problems with That's the Way It Is and Elvis on Tour now is stemming from copyright problems and and paying various people.
And that actually moves us on to the main topic, because you're a man on a mission, aren't you, to get the unreleased Elvis on Tour material released?
Oh, definitely. It's we go back to about 2 years now. It's been since the Searcher came out.
Yeah, it would be 2 years. Yeah, 2018. Yeah.
I heard they were going to include some unreleased material, although it did end up that we got a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Wow.
But the couple of minutes we did get of Elvis singing Burning Love in rehearsal at the end of March in LA was awesome, really, to be honest. I mean, wow, that quality is superb. I mean, how much more are they not showing us now?
Well, let's just take it chronologically. It was the first tour of 1972 after he'd done the normal January-February stint in Vegas. Yeah. He did obviously the recording sessions, which were filmed as well. The fake recording sessions were filmed for Elvis on Tour after he'd done the proper sound recordings. He did another session to make it look like this was the recording session.
It was a couple of day or so after his actual recording session. So everything was still set up and the charts were all there for them.
And it was a 15-city tour. It started in Buffalo on April the 5th and finished at the Tingley Coliseum on April the 19th in Albuquerque.
In Albuquerque, yep, sure did.
Now, taking that the first one on April the 5th in Buffalo, we've now found out that was actually videotaped for reference.
Yes, it was. I think it was Robert Abel, whichever way you...
Yeah, Abel and Adage, Pierre Adage.
Who actually did the filming himself. He got a Sony Portaback video in black and white. And videoed the whole show, apart from, I think it was the end of, it was either the end of Hound Dog and the start of Vision Over Troubled Water was missing, just basically because he had to change cartridges.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that was sold at auction a few years ago.
I've seen some of this footage on your Facebook group.
Yeah, it is pretty much a lot of it is long distance footage, and
it's quite sharp though. It's quite sharp. It's not too bad.
It's sharp, and it's clear, and also I think being black and white footage tends to make it a bit clearer as well.
Yeah.
But you get that feeling of being in the crowd. I think more with that footage. Like
yes.
Elvis in the crowd.
Yeah, so, it was more just to get the logistics of the Elvis show. I think they then had to go to Colonel Tom Parker and show him this and ask permission, could we carry on with the project? I think I remember reading that Jerry Hopkins put that in one of his books.
Yes. Everything obviously had to go through the Colonel again. It's the Colonel, you know what the Colonel was like.
Yes.
What was going on with Elvis. He didn't like them getting too close to him, and especially interview-wise, I think, which is another point to make during the making of the movie, that Elvis did get some really in-depth interviews for the movie.
Yes, he did after the filming, didn't he? I think Maytime, was it?
Yeah, he did one during the filming of the rehearsal.
He did.
A video one. He looked a little bit uneasy on that one, I think, probably because it was video footage.
Mm.
The other one was done probably May or June, we pinpointed it down to. And it was done in a dressing room at MGM.
That's right, his old dressing room, actually.
Yeah, his old dressing room.
I think it's likely to be May, because did he not go to Hawaii to get a tan and everything ready for when he was doing the other tour, and Madison Square Garden as well?
Yeah.
So then there was like a break. April the 6th, they were in Detroit, Dayton, Knoxville, and Knoxville, 2 shows actually in Knoxville on April the 8th. And then they picked it up again with the cameras. And the first one to be filmed, I think, was Hampton Roads on April the 9th.
It was, yeah. Going back to that, say April the 5th, Buffalo, and April the 6th, Detroit. Dayton. There's been some footage come up of Dayton backstage that's been floating around for a bit.
Is that the one where he's talking about, I think he's talking about Burning Love?
That was done just before, if I remember, that's just before Jacksonville.
Oh, is it? Oh, right.
Yeah, when he walks into, and all the guys are sitting around and he's laughing and joking. And
and he pours water over Lamar.
Auditorium being a bit smaller than that room.
That's right. Yeah, and he pours water over Lamar, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. Yeah, that was just before Jacksonville, in the matinee in Jacksonville. I mean, a lot of people have said to me, so, you know, why do you like Elvis on Tour so much? I always said I prefer Elvis on Tour above That's the Way It Is, which probably caused a few eyebrows. But I love That's the Way It Is, but I feel that there's the real Elvis, you know, Elvis on Tour. He's out there on tour with his fans.
Yes.
I think Elvis did know that there was a lot of hierarchy in Vegas, and the gamblers got to see where this was sat, basically, and the fans, had to pay dividends to get down to the front. And he knew that, and so I think a lot of the crowd were gamblers as regards fans.
Yes.
So I think Elvis on tour, you see Elvis playing to his fans rather than...
He was never easy with the dinner show because people were still eating and drinking and so forth. He was always more comfortable with the midnight shows in Vegas.
Yeah, no, I think you find more of the midnight shows were more full of fans rather than the gamblers.
Yeah,
definitely.
So Hampton Roads there was a matinee and there was an 8:30 p.m. show. Were both of those filmed? Because one was a red pinwheel suit and the other one was the blue nail.
Yeah, I must have 20 photos of cameras on stage and at the front at the matinee as well.
Yeah.
People have said, perhaps they were just testing, perhaps they didn't film, but I mean, you don't send 8 to 10 guys out into a concert arena and not actually.
No, you don't lug a camera. You don't lug a camera around and not film.
No. And the shots that we've got are all through the show. They're not, there's basically a shot just before he does Trilogy, and there's a shot here and a shot there, and they're all different angle shots as well. They're not.
Yeah. Well, they had to use multiple cameras because again they were running into the problems of their cassettes. The magazines of films running out, and they didn't want them all to run out at the same time, so they were always filming on a staggered basis. So there was always a complete record of the concert.
They were 11-minute reels they were working with.
Yeah.
So obviously they would stagger them, so basically they would never run out during the show, which then again says to us that what shows they did film, the footage is there.
Moved on then to Richmond on April the 10th. Just one show, 8:30. Again, the red pinwheel suit and the gold attendance belt. Again, that was filmed, if the records are
that was
correct.
Filmed. We pretty much think that is there in its entirety. And obviously, we've got a few minutes. We've got part of Until It's Time For You To Go and a little bit of Let Me Tender in the finished film. And we've got a few clips while they're doing Suspicious Minds, I think. Yes. But apart from that, there's...
Now, this is an interesting one because the next day they were in Roanoke, and this is where Elvis is actually filmed on his plane, isn't he, with the floral guitar?
Yes, it was, yeah. Yeah, the mayor at the time, he was the chap who owned the florist shop as well, so...
That was handy.
It was actually his company that made the guitar for Elvis. And I think Elvis felt he looked a little bit awkward.
Yes, he did. And then unfortunately he accidentally breaks the guitar, doesn't he?
Breaks the guitar as well.
And then he's carrying me back to old Virginia.
Yeah, that mayor, he passed away in 1975, I do believe. About 3 years after that clip. Yeah, he was mayor up until that. He actually passed away while he was still mayor.
Right. So, if the cameras were filming on the plane, would it not make sense for them to film Roanoke concert as well? So that could be one that's in the can as well.
Yes, it could be there as well. If you're going back a few months ago, did you see the interview that one of the magazines did with Jerry Schilling on? No,
I didn't. What's that about?
It was talking about the upcoming UK tour of the Royal Philharmonic shows.
Oh yeah.
And at the time, we were supposed to be getting unseen footage in the shows, and it was talking to Jerry Schilling about Elvis on tour and everything. And Jerry did make a statement saying that we filmed 7 shows.
Right.
In that tour, 7 full shows.
I've only got 5 on my notes here, definitely. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, for years we thought just 4. We do know definitely there is 4 in just multi-track sound as well. But the other three shows are, we've got. Well, we definitely think the matinee at Hampton Roads is there.
Okay.
But the other two, I'm not sure which ones they are. But I would sort of lean towards possibly Jacksonville, maybe, and also I think Little Rock, because we've got members who were there at Little Rock, and they said there was cameras down the front and there was cameras on stage.
Oh, right.
So,
right.
Because
after Roanoke, we have Indianapolis and Charlotte, and those aren't being down as any filming whatsoever. The next one is Greensboro on the 14th.
Yeah, Greensboro there's quite a bit of footage in the film for you. Greensboro, obviously we've got Trilogy, and we've got Funny How Time Slips Away, and Bridge Over Troubled Water, and
a great version of Bridge Over Troubled Water. He's got the royal blue fireworks suit on and the owl belt for that one.
Yes, yeah. There's been a lot of what's it about the actual colour of that suit in the fan club magazines and all sorts of recent times. But
it depends on the it depends on the stage lighting at the time what it looks like.
Lighting, yeah, it makes it look. And it's also over the years. If you see this suit now, it looks purple, basically.
Oh, right.
I saw it. I saw it when it was over on the Elvis On Tour exhibition in London, and it definitely looked purple.
Oh, right. Yeah. Very odd. Very odd. Because I always thought it was like a very, very dark blue.
Yeah. You see it under actually in its case, and it's definitely purple, but then it could be the stage lights that make it look blue.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. There's a big gap after the Greensboro Coliseum. There's Macon, 2 shows on the 15th. Jacksonville, 2 shows in Jacksonville, and then we were just talking about Little Rock, weren't we?
Yes, we were. Yeah. Going back to Macon, we've got another member who was at Macon matinee show, and she was filmed actually thumbing through her program.
Oh, right.
By the MGM crew in the auditorium.
Wow.
And she did say there was cameras around the auditorium, so whether they just filmed the crowd at the beginning and then stopped, we're not sure.
Again, would it make sense? But who knows? Strange decisions have been made. Yeah, but you'd wonder again whether Macon could be one that's been filmed.
Oh, yeah. Actually, if you could shuffle back to Charlotte on April the 13th.
Oh, yeah.
There is definitely filming in Charlotte because there's actually a blink and you miss it part of Charlotte in the actual film. During, I think, the fans section in the middle, where they're interviewing fans, and
oh yeah,
you've got I've loved him for 9 years and everything, and just after that section, you see Elvis lean down into the crowd, and it's Charlotte.
Ah, right. Well, there you go.
Yeah, the cameras are there, Charlotte. So
yeah.
There's a bit of possibility with one of the other 2 concerts that Jerry Schilling has mentioned.
The footage in the back of the car when they're talking about the rocket launch and all that is obviously Jacksonville.
Yeah, they've got before the show, and they've got after the show as well.
And that's probably the matinee, the 2:30.
It's got the.
That's what. And he even says hot time in Florida. So,
yes, he does. Yeah.
So one of the Jacksonville shows could have been filmed as well.
Yeah, that is a shame because looking at the Jacksonville shows, we've got our iconic photo, haven't we, from Jacksonville that was used on the front of Madison Square Garden album.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. The white pyramid suit, isn't it? The white pyramid suit, I think.
It is, yeah. Where in the evening he went back to the blue when he wore in Hampton Roads.
That's right. Now, according to my notes, the last show was the penultimate show on April the 18th, because they finished at the Tingley Coliseum in Albuquerque on the 19th. So on April the 18th, it was San Antonio.
Yes, San Antonio. Yeah, we've got quite a few songs from San Antonio in the finished film, but we've had a few songs serviced since with it. I think nearly a complete CC Rider has serviced on the bootleg circuit since from that show.
Actually, RCA officially released the audio of the concert on the box set Up Close a few years ago, didn't they?
They did, yeah. It wasn't.
And it's actually a good concert, actually.
It is a very good concert, and I don't think Up Close is absolutely. I'd like to hear it remixed, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like they did with Madison. But yeah, it's nice to have at least one show from the tour. But where are we? San Antonio. So yeah, we've had on the bootleg circuit since we've had CC Rider, of course, Proud Mary, Never Been to Spain, and Burning Love were in the movie, and some of the introductions as well, if I remember rightly. Since there was a reel auctioned off of Graceland, a few reels auctioned off of Graceland a few years ago, which included footage from San Antonio. I don't know whether you saw them on YouTube when they were floating about.
I saw that floating around. Yes.
Yeah, there was.
I wish I'd had the money.
They were. They did have a big watermark across the middle of the screen, which was really annoying.
Did they?
But he did show that part in Suspicious Minds when he's down on one knee by the crowd.
Yes.
And the rest, pretty much the rest of Suspicious Minds as well. And it's pretty priceless, that. And also on that footage is For the Good Times.
Yeah.
As well. So, yeah.
So this all leads to. Oh yeah, I was going to say actually, there's a photograph, isn't there, of the producers standing in front of a wall, and on the racking on the wall is a whole load of Elvis on Tour tape boxes.
Yes. And the times,
which is very intriguing. Very intriguing.
Times we have spent trying to find the really good quality photographs that were taken of that, and basically zooming in on with magnifying glasses and all sorts, trying to decipher what's on the tape boxes. And we've got a few of them, and we've seen. If I remember rightly, I've put some notes here. I think we've definitely got Charlotte written on those. We have a couple of them have got Roanoke written on them, but we can't see them writing afterwards whether it's Roanoke on the plane or whether it's concert. We're not sure. And I think I can make out Macon. Going back to the tape boxes, there's also one with Vegas on it.
Oh.
Which brings us back to the footage which has escaped of Elvis backstage at Vegas in, where are we, September 72?
Right.
Season. And he's messing about trying on a silly fans tie, Elvis tie.
Oh, I know the footage, yes.
Yeah. That's just before he went on stage opening night.
And just before he was presented with the gold record for Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. I think what the film producers were trying to tie in, because they'd filmed obviously the press conference at Madison afterwards. I think they were trying to tie in that bit of footage with him getting the gold record from Madison for the rest of 72, and sort of tied in towards the end of the movie somehow. But a lot of the publicity shots from On Tour, if you go through all the black and white publicity shots, there is a great deal of publicity shots from the Vegas season. And it's got Elvis On Tour underneath them. Elvis is in the two-piece suits with the white jacket, and the shots are extremely clear. Which begs, did they film the opening night as well as backstage? I mean, why fly all the way to Vegas just to film a few minutes?
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
So whether that is part of the show of Vegas there, and I think which would be interesting to see, because seeing Elvis in a two-piece suit perform, it's going to be different.
Yeah, we've got some 8mm shots of that, but professional footage would be great.
It would, definitely.
So this all points towards an awful amount of material in the can that we haven't seen for Elvis on Tour.
Definitely.
And you're a man on a mission to try and get this re-released, or not re-released, but some of the unseen footage released by the 50th anniversary, which is obviously 2022.
2022, yeah. Yeah, I'd say ever since seeing this search of footage, I thought, we've got to push for it now, because you've got a lot of the older fans now that are sort of my age upwards who, we're not going to be around if they decide to release these things in 20 years' time. We might not be around, and they're going to lose a lot of,
Well, they're doing this that's the way it is on the 50th. They're going to have to do something on the 50th for Elvis on Tour. That is the key time to do it, I think. If they're going to do it, they'll have to do it within the next 2 years.
Yeah. I'll say there's been a lot of talk recently, especially with the concerts having unseen footage, and that there was obviously that interview with Jerry Sheen. He says there's a lot of unseen footage from That's the Way It Is and Elvis on Tour in the upcoming concerts.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, the last minute shows in the States were cancelled. We weren't given any reason why they were cancelled. And then we got to our November shows in the UK, and there was no unseen footage included at all. So I think basically at the last minute something happened, whether it's contractual, I'm not sure, with Warner's but I think they definitely were wanting to include new footage for the shows. But
yeah, unfortunately, it sounds an awful lot like contractual, and money as well. Of course, money always comes into it, doesn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
That's the way it is. Isn't being shown in the States either. It's only being shown in England and Europe.
No. I think that's just because of the. I think it's like the shows do better. The arena shows do better in the UK than they do in the States.
The 1968, I heard a lot of people in America saying that the 1968, that was shown a couple of years ago in the movie houses, that wasn't well attended in the States either.
It wasn't, no. We had, on the first 68 showings we had a couple of years ago, it did well over here. I mean, the one I went to was pretty packed.
Yeah, the showing we went to, it was just shown one night, August the 16th, and it was full, completely full.
Yeah, it was, yeah. But Elvis Unleashed last year, whether it was too soon, I'm not sure whether it was too soon or whether it was too alike the 68.
Yeah, people couldn't differentiate between the two.
Yeah. I think if it's a casual cinema goer who's into music and everything and sees that, they've been to see the 68 one, and then a year later they pull out Unleashed and say, well, it's basically the same stuff, that they're not going to go. I think that's the way it is. Obviously, we'll do better for that reason. It's the first time it's been shown for like 19 years.
Well, I'm booked up. I booked out the day it came out.
Yeah, we're booked up to go over to Telford.
Right.
Telford.
Me and my wife are going. She was salivating over Elvis in the 1968 special as well.
Yeah, I went with my family to the 68 one as well. They thoroughly enjoyed it as well. So
everybody applauded at the end.
Yes, they did. They did at ours as well. So it's nice. It's nice to have that atmosphere at the cinema. So I hope that's the way it is as well.
So you've got a group, haven't you, on Facebook called Release the Elvis on Tour Footage?
Yeah.
What can other fans and what can our listeners do now that they've heard this?
Basically, it's just getting the campaign out there. I've told everybody that join the campaign, but share our page to their other pages, their other Elvis clubs. Because you're amazed how many Elvis pages are out there in the world.
Yes, there's an awful lot.
Yeah, and we when we started off, I was happy. I think the first couple of months we were up to 200 or 300 members. Now we're pushing, I think, 4,700 now.
Wow. Wow.
Last year, last 6 months, apparently, has gone a bit crazy, to be honest. We've sort of got out there. But I must say, we have been on the radio. Yes, Todd did an hour on Caroline a couple of weeks ago. And I'll say we've been on John Cavanagh's radio, Elvis Memories, on a Sunday evening. We've been on twice. We went on last March as well. And so that gives us a bit more, the campaign, a bit of a head start. So obviously we get members through that. But it's just getting involved and showing you photos and stories about Elvis on tour, and sharing, to be honest. And obviously I'm doing my bit, contacting, trying to push Warner Brothers, contacting who I can at Warner Brothers, and
have you actually heard back from anybody like Warner Brothers or anything like that?
We've had a couple of way backs from Warner Brothers. Trouble with Warner Brothers is they're not that keen on doing back catalogue things anymore. Whether it's because of streaming these days or that they have to be pushed to to look into back catalogue things. But there is a couple of guys at Warner Brothers who are very interested in looking into it. So, but say we are going through that sort of thing at the moment with them. So, but
because EPE really have no bearing on this anymore, do they? They don't have any say in this.
No, because obviously they don't own the rights to any of the Elvis on Tour stuff. Well, that's the way it is stuff at the moment. It's still with Warner's. So, which is definitely Warner's that people have to, So, you get the local, if you find your local office of Warner Brothers in your own country and just basically pester them.
Yeah, that's another good idea.
We want to see
any of our listeners listening now, if they can do that.
But I think from what I gathered from talking to other people as well, that they are getting the message at the moment, especially after the last few months.
Good.
But I think if we can make That's the Way It Is a good success over here, they can see some sort of figures coming in from it. Then it, up as well for 2 years' time, because it's now they have to start thinking of, if they want to redo Elvis on Tour at all, they've got to start it now, basically.
Oh yeah. Because it would need a good re-edit. Just the film itself would need a good re-edit. A lot of the dead wood you'd need to take out. I mean, as touching as he is, the old fella speaking to the cameraman about where Elvis comes in and all this and all that.
I did feel sorry for him.
But that needs to go, unfortunately.
That needs to go. I'm sorry. It's 40 odd years later. I mean,
the popcorn machines need to go and things like that, because we don't need to see the popcorn machines. All that. If you got rid of that, you could have like another half hour or more of Elvis, couldn't you?
Well, yes, definitely. Obviously, I mean, the Elvis on Tour footage has been revisited before, and we had the lost performances.
Yes, that's right.
Where with Ted Turner then. Obviously, the rights were, but they did give us quite a bit of footage there. Obviously, we had quite a bit of That's the Way It Is footage on there as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, but obviously, they have been put through. They've been remastered then as well. So, but also Jerry Schilling did mention in Memphis that he, when he did The Searcher, he sat for a few hours in Warner Brothers going through footage. But obviously, they go through footage at Warner Brothers. They don't just pick out the 2 minutes they use and remaster that. It would be much too costly. Obviously, they just pick the whole reel and remaster it as they go, and then just edit out what they need.
Yeah, and then they can use that for future reference.
But that's been 2 years ago. A lot of that footage has been remastered anyway, so
there's a lot of work there. There's a lot of work there to be done.
But there's no. A lot of the remastering has been done recently, so that cost is out of the way. So it's more of an editing job now.
So we're asking everybody to share the group, release the Elvis on Tour footage, pester Warner Brothers as much as you can. If you know anybody in Warner Brothers, then pester them as well.
Yeah.
And let's get this happening, because time is running out now. In more ways than one, time is running out.
Yeah, we've got to show Warner Brothers that there's money. That the bottom line with Warner Brothers is money. Obviously.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Companies.
Yes.
So you've got to say to them, this is going to make money. Doesn't matter how you do it, but obviously don't make the mistake that TCM made. You don't put a new remastered film onto the TV straight away before you release the DVD.
No, big mistake.
That was like financial suicide, really.
No. Whoever did that needs shooting.
Obviously, if they want, obviously, streaming is the way they make their money these days. But there's some big streaming channels out now. They could do a lot worse than to approach people like Netflix now to do a series, a documentary series on Elvis on Tour.
Yes, brilliant idea.
I've seen loads of different documentary series on Netflix. The footage is there for them, waiting for Netflix to go through and just. Warners could charge basically what they wanted to Netflix for those. Yeah. And it would get streamed by fans everywhere.
Oh, of course it would.
Over and over again. And then later on, they could put some physical product out. So it's just making Warners know that they are still sitting on the gold mine. A lot of people said, "Oh,
and there is an audience to see it."
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a few more years and there won't be an audience. Well, there'll be younger fans coming through, but
younger fans, but things over years get forgotten, don't they?
They do.
Yeah, but our thing is just we will keep pushing until we get something, and we won't rest.
No, and you shouldn't either. You shouldn't, because it's very important that this footage gets released. Right, so all our listeners now know what to do, what they need to do.
Yes, just get onto the page and swell our membership. So, Warners can see the pages and everything. They can see what sort of demand there is for them. So you push our membership up, into more thousands, and think, well, there's a lot of people here wanting this. So
yes, exactly.
There's the market.
Yeah, because they will. If there's a demand, then they will fill it.
Yeah.